barely legal teens because I'm aware it's going to get attention. And the more attention I get, the more word it spreads. And the more people that know about it, the more 18-year-olds I can with.
The moment Tia Billinger became Bonnie Blue by Moon. Every time I see that name, I'm just like kind of surprised that they're called Moon.
A few years ago, Tia Billinger was going to a 9-to-5 and settling into a married suburban life. Today, she's better known as Bonnie Blue, famous for sleeping with over 1,000 men in one day. Her career's been boosted by countless news articles, podcasts, and TV interviews. Until recently, she was pulling in hundreds of thousands every month.
Wait, Bonnie Blue, 25, is raking in $1 million a month selling sordid stunts on OF. Sordid?
Millions every year, becoming one of the most famous women on the internet. And her rise is just everything wrong with the internet and modern fame culture, as her transformation and her wild success tells us all we need to know about modern society. So let's dive right into her sordid story and discover why Bonnie Blue is a warning to all of us. You see, before Bonnie was bonking illegal teens, she was young and innocent herself. Growing up in the sleepy English town of Stapleford, Nottinghamshire, her childhood was incredibly average. With a relatively wealthy upbringing and a stable home life, there was no indications of what was to come. In fact, Bonnie was actually engaged and married far earlier than most. She met her now ex-husband at just 15 years old. He was a rugby star at a nearby private school, and together they were said to have a picturesque, normal life. The pair soon moved into their own house, nearly entirely funded by her partner's wealthy parents. She had everything on a great silver platter. But for whatever reason though, something deep down was wrong. Bonnie wasn't happy with what this stable future looked like. It was just too boring. This wasn't what she wanted. And after spending their teenage years together, the pair split when Bonnie was just 21 years old, and quickly did what every other Brit does, moved to Australia and pursued a career, where she would eventually land in recruitment, just like many 21-year-old British girls. And so far, this sounds like just pretty much anyone else's story. But it was at this point where things took a weird turn. Even with her newfound freedom, Bonnie was just always bored.
And all I thought is, oh, I finished school, I've gone into apprentice and recruitment, and now I'm going to do recruitment for the rest of my life. And I was like, is this as good as it going to get?
Well, no, because there's like a million other jobs.
Yeah, but still like for me, it was very office-based, and money is shit.
She could continue commuting to work, sitting in an office and living a dull but stable life with a happy family. Or there was the other option. She could become famous. She could make it big online and finally be recognized.
So basically, I used to work in recruitment. I was bored of living the 9 to 5, just doing the average life. And I was like, I'm going to give this a go. Started off doing camming for about 2 weeks.
And what was the easiest, most profitable way of doing this? Well, by using her sexuality. And with just one taste of camming, Bonnie was already hooked. At first, it was just a side hustle, something to help put food on the table and help save up for a house. However, it soon proved far more lucrative than she ever expected.
I was earning a lot of money on camming, like 4,000 to 5,000 AUD a week. And that was like instantly life-changing.
It was fast, easy money. Bonnie earned 5,000 Australian dollars after just 1 week as a cam girl. A few weeks later, she was earning more in one stream than her job would pay out for days or weeks of work. She soon realized that just with her looks and playing with men's sexual needs, she could easily become a multi-millionaire and live out her fantasies, her dreams and goals in life, and never have to settle down or rely on a man again. But she soon realized that just camming like this wasn't going to be enough. Other platforms were far better for reaching a wider audience. She saw how these huge OnlyFans stars were making $5 million a month, becoming part of the 0.001% in society just from playing on men's psychology. And the best thing was, these OnlyFans girls didn't have to stream every day either.
It's just funny the way he says it, like just by playing on men's psychology. Like the way he's like putting it.
The ultimate business model. With just a few hours of work a week, you could make millions if you did it right, all whilst becoming famous at the same time. And if you're wondering how the top 1% of OnlyFans creators make so much money, take a look at this. A recent study found that over 80% of men watch porn on a regular basis, with a lot of them spending hundreds if not thousands on subscriptions to fuel their addiction every month. Quitter is on a mission to stop this and help men regain control of their lives and finally break free from this evil habit. With their in-app 30-day challenge, 1 million men have already seen incredible changes in their lives. Increased discipline, boosted focus and productivity, confidence confidence in themselves and in talking to women. Quitting porn doesn't have to be difficult, and with Quitter's cutting-edge app, 30 days is all it takes to enjoy the physical and mental benefits. Now you might be thinking,
I don't know, like just stop watching. I don't know, like for me, like that sounds like so funny. Like I just can't really take that serious. Just get off your phone. It's like the image of the bird trapped in the cage, but the doors are open. Yeah.
how do I know if I need help? Well, with Quitter's free porn addiction quiz, you can see how your habits compare to the 1 million men they have already helped overcome their addiction. All you have to do is click the link in the description and download the app and begin the quiz. Today is the day you stop saying I'll quit tomorrow and regain control before it's too late. Now of course, Bonnie was already making far more money than most adult content creators can hope for. In reality, the top 1% of OnlyFans creators earn just around £38,000 annually, which is about as much as the average UK salary. The vast majority earn far less, pumping out content every day to a tiny amount of paying subscribers. There are hundreds of thousands of them, all trying to outcompete each other. So to stand out, you need to do something truly exceptional, be incredibly beautiful and stunning, or truly depraved. It's the same process we're seeing at almost every level of society, where everything has to be more extreme, more crazy, more fascinating, more dope, and
Everything kind of feels like a pyramid scheme. Like the way he described it, when you think about how that relates to any business model, everything kind of gives like Ponzi scheme, like how there's like one person in the top and then everyone at the bottom is just like feeding off, trying to do whatever they can. When you look at things a certain way, it just kind of gives like, as if everything is a game and you just have to know like the ways of the game to get on top. But everyone just starts in the bottom and has to like find their way up top with the 1%. It just gives pyramid scheme.
magic than anything else. Whether for good or bad, you have to be extreme. And if you're not, people get bored of you and you'll make nothing. We see
It's like somebody set this up. Like somebody somewhere is like playing with the earth. Everything feels like that. Even streaming, you could say. Anything. Even corporate. Like everything. Even like someone's like random job at McDonald's. Anyways.
even with factory workers who lose their jobs now because they're competing against extremely cheap labor from foreign countries. Dating has become so much harder for them because instead of competing with local people in your own city, you're now competing with the entire world, with the top elite of people using Photoshop and everything they can to their advantage. There are plenty of examples wherever you look, and OnlyFans is yet another one. It's becoming
not someone using Photoshop to get dates.
Far more common as well. Both regular people and celebrities are now all integrating this into their wider social media. We see people like Lil Nas trying to take down Christianity with his music, all to get those outrage clicks. The more normalized all of this becomes, the more people give it a try, and OnlyFans is just a symptom of this entire process. But whilst it's such a tempting offer, with a few hours of work and a quick sign up in minutes, the consequences can be permanent. Whilst it might be fine for a couple of years, future employers, partners, children, or anyone else important in your life will probably judge you heavily for this. And in previous societies, it would have been completely shameful. But when you see these people making millions a month just from doing it, it's all too tempting not to. And once you start, you just can't stop. So in the first few weeks of her career in adult content, Bonnie coasted along with her genetics. When she was younger, she looked like a beautiful woman. She could have easily stayed at this level for years, earning a healthy amount of money. But the same thing that drove her away from a quiet, boring life in England or a normal job in Australia pushed her further. Her rise through the world of OnlyFans would be thanks to other qualities, character traits that made her perfectly suited to the world of online adult content. The first thing that Bonnie needed to do was find her niche. Most creators don't push the envelope. They post the same kind of pictures with the same kind of captions, all competing for the exact same audience. Targeting a specific niche makes it much more likely for your fans to pay out. Some people choose specific preferences to focus on, but Bonnie was going to do something that would have mass appeal, while also being far more extreme than others would dare to do. She was going to use regular people in her videos.
My inbox was flooded with these schoolies saying, hey, like I really want to sleep with you and make a video.
It was a pretty simple idea, but there's a lot of very good reasons content creators don't do this. Before Bonnie Blue, nearly all adult content creators only worked with other content creators. Everything was simulated and acted out, as it's safe for them because random people off the street have no incentive to be professional and could be kind of dodgy, let alone unhygienic. It's also a lot less likely for fellow performers to take advantage or act out if their career and their reputation is involved. The closed system gives them more control. There's just a million reasons not to use random people instead of other performers, but Bonnie didn't care about any of this. She knew that this was her shot at fame online, as she explained on UK TV.
Because as I started my content, I realised it was not necessarily relatable to the average person. And I wanted to make my content relatable. I'm just a girl, I'm relatable, I'm sort of the girl next door vibes.
She saw the opportunity.
This is really interesting because we're seeing her content strategy. I don't care that it's OF. I love to see what people do behind the scenes to like get their content going. And she has like her whole niche and everything. We're about to find that out. But like, this is actually pretty interesting, like, because I've seen like people do OF and they don't really seem to put much effort behind it. If you want to be good at anything, you need to have some sort of like system running for yourself so it functions properly, you know? You can't really just do things all willy-nilly. So it's really interesting to see what she had in mind and what she planned out for this.
To make money by actually giving people something closer to the real thing. To give people a false hope. She knew her audience was desperate, lonely men. So if she made a parasocial relationship with them, acting as if the guy watching could be next, she would rake in millions. Plus, she had the rare quality of seemingly not caring about how unsafe and dirty this could actually be. In podcasts, she's openly talked about how people have taken advantage and even stolen her phone in all of the chaos. And it's fairly likely that she's omitting lots of the gory, horrible details, or that she's so used to it at this point that it doesn't even faze her anymore.
Whereas I would say just someone having take my phone, and I wasn't bothered about the phone. It was more I've just pleasured you.
Yeah.
And you've done that. Like, it's just frustrating that there's such like nasty people out there.
Even with how extreme and degenerate this was, it still wasn't enough yet. She was still bored. She knew she could become more famous and get more attention and money. So she wasn't going to just use one random person, she was going to get hundreds of people involved. And on top of that, she was also going to target a very specific demographic. From the beginning of her stunts, Bonnie targeted the youngest men she could legally target. In Australia, where she was living at the time, 18-year-olds have a week of partying late in the year after they finish the exams. It's called schoolies, and for lots of teens, it's the first holiday they'll have as an adult. You can already see why so many people are calling this predatory. In interviews with critics, Bonnie tells the world that it's completely legal, that she has people sign consent forms, checks their IDs, and makes sure they all get tested before anything happens.
When they're coming to me, it's pre-planned. So they've already thought about it beforehand. They have to fill in 2 consent forms, they have to bring ID, and they also get tested. So it's a much safer environment than what people think.
Meanwhile though, her promotional material often uses the term barely legal. It speaks to how she's pushing the law to its limits rather than actually paying attention to ethics or common sense. Because why would you when money and fame are the only things you care about? But we're in a society and culture that values extremes and immorality over actual virtue.
I call them barely legal teens because I'm aware it's going to get attention. And the more attention I get, the more word it spreads. And the more people that know about it, the more 18-year-olds I can with.
Bonnie sold her soul doing this, and in 2023, along with a bunch of other stunts, actually found herself at the top of OnlyFans. Within no time at all, she was now earning hundreds of thousands every single month, making the bleak truth about society ever more clear.
Is she sleeping with all of them? Like, is she like actually sleeping with them, or is it just like she's like teasing people? I feel like I didn't get that.
Extreme your content is, and the more degenerate you are, the more attention and money you'll get. This creates an especially destructive trap for people to fall into. They might start out in the industry with lots of strict boundaries and things they won't do, but if it turns into their career and they have an alter ego, then there's suddenly a financial incentive for them to do things they aren't comfortable with. If they start losing their audience, content creators will feel forced to take the next step towards more extreme content. Bonnie Blue, who dives straight in head first, is rare in this way. But at this point, you might be wondering about Bonnie's family. The family she left behind in England. All the people from her past that knew her. Her ex-husband, her friends, and most of all her parents must have had some thoughts about her virality. You might think they'd be displeased seeing their daughter earning their living by sleeping with so many people and being on OnlyFans. But actually, the apple didn't fall far from the tree once they saw the money she was pulling in, and their scruples too flew out the window. Notice that term, supporting the family. Today, lots of them are just part of the business that surrounds her. They're her managers handing out flyers. Apparently her ex-husband helps out as well behind the scenes. In 2022, they were...
He came back? Oh, no. That is, I'm disgusted.
Were married. Just a year later, he was then cleaning up her stains on hotel mattresses. Needless to say, lots of Aussies weren't nearly as thrilled about what was going on.
Listen to this. Wait, let me, no, hold on.
Her ex-husband helps out as well behind the scenes. In 2022, they were married. Just a year later, he was then cleaning up her stains on hotel mattresses. Needless to say, lots of Aussies weren't nearly as thrilled about what was going on. In fact, so many of them signed a petition to the government that they ended up revoking her visa. So Bonnie Blue just ended up packing up and continuing the show in her home country, putting the same stunts with 18-year-old university students instead. Later, she even went to Fiji planning on doing the exact same thing, although it's unclear how successful she actually was. Other than that, Bonnie Blue hasn't shied away from breaking other taboos and potentially breaking up entire families. She's been vocal about her preference for married men and fathers as well as their sons, a perfect marketing scheme playing on the trends on adult content sites. This is all a calculated strategy to create as much outrage as possible so that she gets more attention and thus more money. Like we can see with the story she told where she slept with both a father and a son one after another, then heard the dad say, "Don't tell your mother about this," after they left.
I let the son go first. So, well, to be fair honest, I'd already slept with their son a few days before.
Oh.
And then in the queue, I saw someone with their, well, I didn't know it was their dad. I just saw someone with a much older guy. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just someone older. And he was like, oh, this is my dad. And I was thinking, oh my God, his dad's going to tell me off. Or I don't know, the dad's going to say something to me. Mm-hmm. But the story was that he was actually just quite jealous that his son had got to sleep with me. So then we did a father and son.
These stories all work to create a narrative, to make you wonder what's really going on in these videos. It's all a calculated ploy just to get her more famous. You'll see a pattern with all of her statements and interviews and her actions on camera, all designed to gain the most amount of attention possible. Bonnie Blue knows that controversy is what sells. She knows that the men that hate her the most want to actually watch these videos the most.
She's right. She's right, though. You have to have the right personality for this, clearly, because not everyone can do that. I don't know if I would consider her a rage baiter. Maybe something else. There's another word for what she does. But you really have to not care. Like it gets to a point where you jump over the other side and then it's almost no coming back. I don't want to say there's no coming back. I feel like she can come back from this, honestly. I think she could change her life around, maybe. Even though digital footprint is a thing. But yeah, you definitely have to have a certain personality for this. Not everyone can do this and is willing to do this. But it's so crazy because people getting paid to act like this is just kind of not inflame. That's obviously not the word, but it creates, it makes those people that have that certain personality go crazy.
And that her long string of controversial moments has only pushed her career further and further, all with the backing of her own family.
Your father's okay with this?
Yeah, he's more than proud. His back of his phone case is like a QR code to my OnlyFans.
I can imagine how proud he is.
How does it make you feel though?
Oh my God.
I'm proud of her. I don't mind.
It's gotten her TV interviews, podcast appearances, and enough tabloid articles to fill a Sunday paper. In a way, we're only perpetuating the problem by making this video in the first place. Always this stuff attracts a lot of basic haters pretty understandably, but they don't know.
Yo, I feel like as soon as your parents know you're making money, especially if you're gonna make a lot of money, they're happy. They're just happy. They don't even care what you're doing. I've seen that happen so many times. And this just proves it to me again. Imagine your parents being saying that they're proud of you for this. Yo, bro.
That they're acting as her publicist without even realizing. This is all part of her strategy in the first place. Stunts like performing acts at a local football game then getting kicked out the stadium fit perfectly into this narrative before sneaking in later to do it all over again. And it all just brings us to the thing that Bonnie Blue's most famous for, and the reason why she's a symptom of our corrupted society. Her claim to the world record for sleeping with the most people in a single day. According to her social media posts and the storm of news and media coverage, Bonnie slept with 1,057 men in just a single day. But the logistics alone are hard to believe. In a 12-hour period, taking 2 people at a time non-stop, each person would still only get around 80 seconds each. But while there isn't much real evidence of this, kinda seems like this did actually happen. There are posts she made after the fact and pictures of this desperate queue of men. One woman even found that her boyfriend was among those men in the queue, and they broke up shortly afterwards. He wasn't alone. As Bonnie became more popular, hundreds and later thousands of men lined up waiting for their turn. And imagine the risks a man has to take to line up waiting for their turn on Bonnie Blue. If people ever found out
just waiting in line butt naked, like ew, embarrassing.
that you went, it would be awful for your reputation. Then there's the hygiene aspect. I mean, Bonnie insists that everyone's been tested, but as we'll soon find out, she isn't afraid of bending the truth.
Sleeping with an adult worker who's fully tested in a safe environment, that should be the least of their worries.
Then there's just the simple fact that lots of people can't imagine anything grosser than this. Standing outside in the cold with hundreds of other men is probably one of the most empty, messy, humiliating and degenerate experiences you can ever have.
Yeah.
And yet so many men have poured into the streets for hours just to get their magic minute. The fact that there's so many men this desperate speaks to how far men are falling in modern society. Potentially because the very content they're consuming where Bonnie Blue becomes a multi-millionaire from these lonely guys spending all of their cash on this sort of stuff, being so desensitized to adult content since they were around 11 years old. Bonnie Blue often describes what she does as just giving pleasure, nothing more and nothing less, as this interpretation just justifies what she does like some sort of charity. But if it is just pleasure, then surely more pleasure for more people is better, right? Well, this is all part of a wider sexualized move in society towards devaluing, reducing and stripping things down, taking away the divinity of life, the emotional connection, the build-up, even just the sanctity of love has been completely thrown away and commodified into a product, where the bodily sensation is all that's left, with two people who just see each other as a means to an end. And Bonnie Blue's cartoonishly exaggerated stunts are just the epitome of how modern society has cheapened the act itself. Her popularity both with her volunteers and the wider internet just really shows what she does is perfectly designed to fit into modern culture. But this isn't the only way that Bonnie Blue has been able to profit from exploiting modern society. She also allegedly fakes lots of her stunts in an attempt to get more attention. Recently, for example, Bonnie Blue had family members post videos of her being arrested by police. Thanks for all the support in the last 24 hours, her sister wrote in a post. This isn't something we wanted to get out of, but it seems there is no privacy for her anymore. Yours sincerely, Tia's sister. Immediately, people began wondering what this was all about. Maybe she broke public indecency laws, or maybe she went under the legal age limit that she's been pushing for years. Instead though, people soon realized that this was almost certainly a fake marketing stunt, and that nearly everything her sister said was probably a lie. The police car's license plate then matched a prop car often used in movies and TV shows. It's this single-minded pursuit of attention that wins in our online attention-based economy, where degeneracy, extremity, and pure narcissism are awarded above all else. Bonnie Blue realized this and is willing to do absolutely anything so long as it contributes to this ultimate goal, including faking all of this stuff so she naturally floats to the top and finally becomes recognized and famous, no matter what for. And because it's been working so well for her, it's spurring on a whole other generation of girls to do the exact same thing. People like Lily Phillips have emulated her playbook in every single way. She's pulled the exact same stunts and she's most likely faked being arrested as well. Just recently, she also boasted that she actually broke Bonnie's new record by sleeping with 1,113 men in just 12 hours. Meanwhile, Bonnie has now been banned from fans after threatening to pull another stunt in London, this time with her locked in a box open to the public. Fans cited their rule against public stunts, although it comes too little too late really. They were happy to take their cut of massive earnings for years. Now they must calculate that she's more trouble than she's worth. It's almost like Bonnie Blue almost went too far, like she got too much attention and fame from this. Like Icarus, she flew too close to the sun.
And that's crazy. OnlyFans banning you from the site for doing too much is insane.
The sun. Being seen courtside in basketball games, doing podcasts with people like Andrew Tate, and seemingly being known ubiquitously online. But she isn't exactly a villain in this story. However much money she made, she's still just a pawn on the board, a symptom of a wider, more degenerate problem across the West. I mean, she was only so successful because she fit the mold exactly for what our society rewards nowadays. The real money, billions of dollars, gets hoovered up by the platforms themselves. Like we mentioned before in this video about the man who owns all the adult content online. These kinds of people are profiting from the downfall of the West. I mean, even Bonnie Blue's claims of making nearly 10 million in a year pales in comparison to the 1.4 billion in revenue that itself pulls in. Let alone the fact that the top sites across the internet are always adult content sites, who are always owned by shady companies that have monopolized the entire industry. And the people running those companies are completely anonymous, doing everything they can to hide away from fame. People might even go so far as to call Bonnie a predator because of all the stuff she says about taking young people's virginities. And as horrendous and attention-grabbing as that statement is, OnlyFans is actually making tons of money off real illegal predatory content. Videos of people taken without their consent, videos of crimes, and even worse, which is all then filtered through the platform, which has seen over 100 complaints of non-consensual videos on the site. And these are just the ones that people know about and make a complaint about. With so much decentralized amateur content, it's almost impossible to tell. And the self-proclaimed feminist CEO tells the world that they're making adult content safer. They're giving power back to women by giving them control over their place in the industry and liberating women sexually, which is just classic tech bro drivel designed to cover up their real role in the wider economy, looking to take part the very fabric binding culture and civilization together so they can replace it with their own profit-sucking model instead, commodifying the human body. And by having so many of these band stars loudly and proudly discuss the money they make, whether it be 1 million or 5 million a month, they continue to hope this will tempt other people into giving this a try, to selling their body for clicks online. And we already know that the average person is never going to make any real money from this and will actually end up ruining their life because of this, giving away their privacy and dignity permanently once the content is out there. Which is just the real tragedy of Bonnie Blue. She entered into the industry in the same way as thousands of other women. Where others failed, she excelled because she was willing to go further than anyone else. Now she acts as a living billboard for the benefits of it all, luring people into a decision that can have lifelong consequences.
She did exactly what she wanted to do and she was pretty successful at what she did. The fact that she's banned off of OF, I have no idea what she's doing now. Don't know if she's still doing the same thing. Seemed pretty successful on her part. W video, that was interesting. Like I said, like if you're gonna do something, like go all in. You can't half-ass this. Like they said, this would make a lot of random people want to join OF. It's almost not worth the risk if you're not gonna turn your life around to really just be that at like 100%. Because then it's not gonna be worth it. You're not even gonna make enough for all of that. Like I say, either do it, go all in, or just don't do it at all. And it's funny how they always create some sort of alter ego where they change their appearance and then do whatever they need to do. I think she had brown hair at first. I don't know if her blue eyes were real. It's really like dedication, truly. Yeah. Anyways, W video. I wonder what she's doing now. I heard someone getting arrested for trying something like that in one of those islands like Fiji, Malaysia, Bali, one of those places, because they do not allow that type of behavior over there. I don't know if it was her, but I think it might have been. They like put you to jail for that stuff, or prison, I should say. I wonder what she's doing now. Should we search and see? Pregnancy. You wore a fake baby bump to promote her breeding mission. She creates and shares her content on another platform called Fansly. She's currently working as a pregnancy-focused adult content creator. She's expecting a baby due in November and has heavily been in the news. That is so disgusting. Oh my gosh, guys. That is so disgusting. Bro, nah, this is too much. All right.